All right, greetings everyone. We're now starting our CCD 75 Capacity and Utilization Committee at 6:10 p.m. This meeting is being recorded and it will be populated and shared on CCD 75 Outreach, which is what you may search to find this recording on YouTube. We will now hand it over to our second vice president, Stephanie Bonilla, who is also chair of this committee, with our co chair, Mr. Craig Spencer. Please let me know where I can try to support in this meeting. And over to you, Stephanie.
Nope. Thank you, Miss President Angel. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. We appreciate your time. We're here to do a short presentation and to answer some of your questions for capacity and utilization. Mr. Craig Spencer, would you like to say your welcome?
Thank you, Second VP Bonilla. Greetings, everyone. Hope everyone is warm from this blast of winter that we got. Um, I'll go into it later. We had a meeting scheduled for the 29th, but thank goodness we postponed it because there's a couple of things that happened. I'll go into that later. But I want to welcome everyone. This will be the next committee meeting will be in December. So we've got a couple of things we want to prepare our community for. And thanks for coming in and showing out and spread the word. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Spencer. Miss Miss Gabrielle, if you could share the screen when you can. And we could share the presentation as well at the end. This is just our introduction again on our capacity and utilization committee, but we have a few questions that we would like to ask you to make sure that you know why certain things are important, and we will be sharing the information as well. Next slide, please. Why attend community team meetings in your school district? Next slide, please. Community meetings are vital to our learning about how the DOE and local school administrators will resolve utilization issues such as spacing and class accessibilities the community has brought to them. At these meetings, the public can learn who are the decision makers as well as who speaks in the process, parent leaders, CC reps, citywide, PEP members, etc. Next slide, please. These are some of the proposals that were happened in October that we would like to share. One of them was the Bronx proposal for the merge of IS 313 and IS 339 in IX 47, and it will start in the next school year, 2026-2027. And it will also be a co-location of the new high school of hip hop in the building of X147, and the X147 will house the D75 site for Bronx School of Continuous Leaders, which will be 469. The community meeting was on October 24, 2025, and the joint public hearing was on October 30th. We would like you all to start attending these meetings. That way your voice could be heard, or you could hear your school community's voice be heard as to what they would like in their community. Some may be for the proposals, some may be against proposals, but we will have to hear what is the why. So our next question is, why attend school visits in your school district? Next slide, please. Your school visits are critical toward acquiring physical accountability regarding moderate to severe utilization and safety issues during the time period community meetings are held. In most cases, solely administrators and parent leaders representative attend these visits to have manageable size of attendees walk through the school site in question in reasonable amount of time. Excuse me. The results of the visits can be reviewed during a community meeting. If you go to the school before a community meeting, you could be able to voice about what you have seen in the community, aside from your parents. Next slide. Thank you. These were some school visits that we were able to visit. Mr. Spencer, you have something to add?
Yeah, I just want to stress the fact that um, this committee and our council encourages. We're presenting this to you so you know there are voices, there are avenues for your voice, so you won't feel boxed in. So you won't have that problem that you're running across fester. You go to your parent leaders, you go to your PA, your PTA, and if it's not there, your SLT, your school leadership team. These are the folks that represent you, because you're not going to be able to go to a school visit. Only a limited amount of people could go through a school site during the school day. um, Not like a community meeting or a meeting like this where it's virtual. And we just want to make sure you guys are aware of the avenues you have to advocate and for yourselves.
Thank you, Mr. Spencer. This was one of the schools that we visited on Friday. Next slide, please. And this was another school as well. We visited some schools on Friday in the Bronx. Next month, we have a list of visiting some Queens schools as well. For accessibility, give me 1 second. I'm gonna share my screen on. Let's skip that slide. Gabrielle, please. Thank you. Why attend joint public hearings in your school district? Next slide. Joint public hearings are served as an official acknowledgement that community hearings have been held regarding a proposal for a new school site that addresses the utilization concerns. Additional public comment is welcome for the record so it can be reviewed and voted for the panel for educational policy, which is the PEP. Also accepts public comment beforehand, such that when approved plans can be put in motion for the new site to be created. Next slide, please. These are some joint public hearings that we've attended in the month of November. If anyone is from Brooklyn, or if anyone here can please put their borough and where they're from in the chat, that would be helpful as well, because we could also help you be able to be part of these joint public hearings. Next slide, please. These are the ones upcoming now in December. And that is where my question goes to: where is your district? What borough are you from? If we hear of any proposals, we could let you know. That way you could be part of it and be able to also advocate for your school community or your school district. Next slide, please. These are some joint public hearings coming up in January. We also have some PEP proposals coming up in January as well that we will share next month that are going in for voting. Next slide, please. This is a short little timeline of steps just for everyone to be aware of what they could look out for. Look out for doing your school visits, doing your community meetings, joining your joint public hearings with the entire community, and also going to the PEP in order for votes to go for the proposal. These are some questions that we could have. Some are why when I go to another school, it doesn't look the same. Sometimes when we see our school, it may look different than another school that we visit. They may have different things that we don't have, or they may have different curriculum that we don't have as well. Another question we could have is why doesn't the school have any doorbells at the entrance? Goes back again to some schools we're seeing that some have doorbells, but some still do not have doorbells as of yet. What things are SCA and building facilities working on in my school? Those are questions that we could ask depending on the issue of the school to see what department will be assigned for that. And these are some examples that we could look into as well. Either ADA bathrooms, ADA entrances or exits, sensory rooms, instructional curriculums, etc. And for closing, again, let's keep in mind the main questions. Why is it important to attend our school visits? Why is it important for us to attend our community
Vice
meetings?
President Bonilla, can I jump in really quickly? I know we use acronyms a lot, but
Yes.
just in case people don't know what ADA stands for, it's the Americans with Disability Act. And that is things that allows us to have accommodations in spaces where our children and where we function. So when you hear Vice President Bonilla say ADA, she's referring to Americans with the Disabilities Act. Just wanted to put that in there just in case some people may not have known. With the bathrooms, it's accessible, meaning, Vice President, do you want to jump into that when we're talking about what it means to be accessible in these spaces?
No, thank you for that, President Angel. All I was gonna add for the bathrooms that is usually that they have wide door spaces. Some of our students may have wheelchairs that may be that have mobile abilities that need to be more attend to and need more space, as well as when we saw in the school on Friday,
With
one of the
ramps and the elevators, yes.
yes, and the elevators as well. I was in the bathroom on Friday. They actually had a bath shower in their ADA bathroom, which is something that I advocate for them to all have. But they also had a stretcher in their bathroom. They had a section according to ADA, which I was very impressed about.
And just know that we're trying to make sure that our schools are accessible for our students and our parents. And just as a quick pin before I give the floor back, I don't want to take over. For parents, if there's something that you need to help your student, if you come into the classroom or if you're putting your child on the bus or anything of that nature, please do add that to your student's IEP. That way, the accommodation that's needed for you will be accommodated in the full IEP and travel along with your child on paper. Back to you, Vice President.
Sorry, President Angel, can you give us an example of that? Is that like if a parent needs an
Absolutely.
elevator because
Let's
of
say a parent is visually impaired, but they want to walk their child to the bus. They have a legal right to do so. If someone says, oh, well, your husband can get the child to the bus more easily or something of that nature, that means you're taking away my rights and my accommodations to be able to participate in my child's life. We may have parents that are in wheelchairs that are taking students to buses and or back or going into buildings, and they don't need to roll down a full city block to get inside. And those things, we can uplift those if we add what the accommodation is for our parents in the IEP. As we know, all disabilities are not seen. So if you know that you do need additional assistance, it would be wonderful to remember to put that in your student's IEP or pass it forward to someone that may need that information at some point. Thank you.
Thank you for that, President Angel. Um, Again, these are just some important questions to keep in mind, which is the why is important to attend school visits, why is important to attend community meetings, why is important to attend joint public hearing meetings. Next slide, please. And this is our last slide, but this is just our survey in order for us to get the information of everyone that attends today, of any concerns that you have of your school community. But we're gonna add that into the chat while I transition into the next slide. Gabrielle, I'm gonna share my screen and I'm gonna share our accessibility list. Mr. Spence.
We want to welcome Chief Andy Corso of Special Education that is joining us tonight. We really do appreciate having support on every level. She is a wonderful collaborator with us. Back to you, Stephanie Bonilla. If you want to say something, Vice President, please guide this meeting in the way that you want to go. Just wanted to shout her out since she just joined.
No problem. Thank you, Ms. Corso, for joining us tonight. I think you joined us at a perfect time. We're going to go over our accessibility list to see which schools we are highlighting into that we need more accessibility in our citywide. Mr. Spencer, is there anything you want to add before I share the accessibility list?
Yeah, you're reading my mind. Yeah, so I want to uplift those the joint public hearings that have happened so far. And congratulations. And I know the joint public hearing that I went to was on the 5th, about a week ago for 75K 04 at K 235. It was elementary school, and they believe that's going to be voted on. And we hope to have, Vice President Bonilla and I, we want to include it in our meetings, some sections, some time for folks in the community to speak regarding the joint public hearings, and that way you can hear it from those that are directly affected, the positive, how it benefited the community. So that way, parents can have an end game, a result. They'll know how it looks like at the end, so they can work toward that and ask for help to work toward that. So I want to uplift specifically the folks in District 18, because they, with elementary school, the space, it was a very sparse, and this new space that they're creating with 235 really will help in terms of cutting down the transportation time, and just the space, more space for our kids. So, woohoo! I'll leave it at that for now.
Thank you, Mr. Spencer. I'm going to share the screen now.
So Vice President Bonnie, so you're trying to the spreadsheet for the accessibility info. That's what you're trying to upload for folks to see.
Well, while we're waiting for Vice President Bonilla to upload the spreadsheet that co-chair Spencer is speaking of, we want you to know that this is something that shows and displays all District 75 schools, their addresses, the principals, etc. But it also gives us a rating of 0 through 10 that lets us know the building accessibility. A building may be accessible, but it may also have different levels of boundaries. Let's say there's a playground. Different kids can have accessibility to it, but a wheelchair student may not if there's 3 stairs, if there is not a ramp. There's different things to see when you're looking in the auditorium. If there's no ramps, the auditorium is not accessible. What does that look like? And as you'll move through these meetings with, forgive the snoring in the background, my son is getting a good nap in. I'm enjoying the quiet and doing the work. Um, as we look in these buildings, our CECs have a legal space that they function in with their school visits, where they are looking at, is there chipping paint? Are the water fountains up to space? When have your filters been changed? What's going on with the asbestos? What's going on with the spacing and things in the building? As a citywide, we look at the curriculum, we look at different aspects, and we also uphold what the CECs do as well. So, know when we invite you guys to the meetings, we're going to incorporate what you need and what we do so we can make sure that everybody gets done what they need to do. And with this next page that Vice President Bonilla or our AA Gabrielle will bring up, it will give us a little bit more information about what I was speaking toward in regard to what schools look like in their accessibility and what these ratings 0 through 10 mean. Are you guys ready for me to hand it back over? Looks like we might be okay. If you can pull that up, expand it, and then maybe scroll left and or right, I think that may work, Stephanie.
Yeah, I was trying. My computer is freezing. We are working
It's
pro.
okay. So what you guys are seeing so far as Vice President Bonilla moves through the screen, you're seeing that the 7 shows the district. So row B that you're looking at, that shows the districts, District 7, District 8. Row C shows the borough. Row D shows the building code. So if it's 040 at location 352, that means you're at the Vita Bogart School for All Children, grades K through 8. So if you look at all the titles, it will show you the grades, the schools, the address, and then the accessibility. And you'll see it says partially accessible, fully accessible, things of that nature. What we are doing as a council is starting from 0 to 10, and we're going through the buildings that are not accessible through the buildings that are fully accessible and what that means. Vice President Bonilla, do you want to take the example of the first school and show them what a 1 of 10 means? I think it should, if it doesn't click in, maybe we could show them the example that I screenshot to you earlier. It may not click. It's with screen share or excuse me, SharePoint with DOE, so it may not give her the ability. If not, could you please pull up the screenshots that we had earlier this afternoon, and then maybe we could walk through it that way to
Yes.
show people. Okay.
Let me try to get that.
So, what we want you to know, CEC members, when you go on your visits in this accessibility spreadsheet, when you click the link, it actually will show you if the bathrooms are accessible and why they are not. If there is something blocking possibly the doorway that causes a barrier. So the bathrooms are accessible to certain people, but not wheelchairs. Maybe the building is accessible to, but our parents have to walk an extra block. Things that we've said like that before, it will show you these things before you go to the building. Thank you. You want to tap in, Vice President? If not, this is page 1 of what you may see, building accessibility profile. This is available to you guys. If you cannot see it, please ask your AAs. Please ask any of our members on the council. We will make sure you get this information. It will show you ahead of time what is going on. So they have a 1 out of 10. This shows it was accessed as of 2018. It shows the nearest accessibility to the subway and things of that nature. Vice President, it is cutting off the screen on this end. I'm not sure if everyone else can see it as well. Can everyone else see the full screen or is it just me?
No, it's cut off on the right side. Oh, there we go. That's a full screen.
All right, there we go. So then we can see that the accessible entrance is not the same as the main entrance. The accessible entrance is on 139th Street, and that's something to look at. When you go in the building, maybe have someone else go in on the main entrance and someone else go in on 139th, and you guys compare and contrast and see what this looks like. The main point is every school gets to put in what they want for SCA. At the end of the day, everyone has Reso A, and we have a right to look at how we can support these schools and figure out monies that can support these situations. Additionally, having the information before you go into the building is always knowledge is power, right? So, Vice President Bonilla, the screen dropped.
I'm getting you the numbers up.
Okay, wonderful. And while we're waiting, guys, please know if you would like us to visit your schools, we would love to do so. There's different things that we do look at to make sure that our schools are in compliance as much as they can be. We do uplift them in spaces where we can support. And if you see something that we may not see, New York says if you see something, say something. We agree in that space. So, Vice President, if you could start with maybe number one and walk us up through what the ratings mean. One is very hold on, let me see. It's pretty hard.
It doesn't let me see it on the
It
screen.
says there is general access to at least some of the ground floor through accessible entrance, although not all spaces contained. I can't read the bottom. The second one, we'll come back to that. Number
Yeah.
two, if you see these numbers next to your buildings, this is the rating they have for accessibility. A number two means there's general access to most of the ground floor, at least one accessible bathroom on that floor, and there are no accessible classrooms on the ground floor. Three means there is general floor access and at least one accessible bathroom and one accessible classroom exist on the ground floor. And certain classrooms or public assembly spaces on the ground floor may still not be accessible due to changes in elevation. Number four, the ground floor is fully accessible, including all public assembly spaces present on the ground floor. At least one accessible bathroom and one accessible general education classroom exists on the ground floor. Five, the ground floor is fully accessible, including at least one bathroom and one classroom, and the building includes at least one elevator or lift. Elevator. When they say lift, it means it may be just one student and one other person is allowed in that quote unquote elevator space, providing access to an additional floor other than the ground floor. Access to additional floors may not include access to all floors in the building, and they may not include additional accessible bathrooms or classrooms other than on the ground floor. This would be something that you would see when we have annex spaces, when there are new spaces added to a building, and they may have issues of how they mended the old in or blended the old into the new. Number six, at least one elevator or lift provides access to several floors other than the ground floor, including the main corridors and most spaces connected to them. Access to additional floors may not necessarily include additional accessible bathrooms or public assembly spaces due to changes in elevation or other barriers. Number seven, at least one elevator provides service to all floors in the building, including most classrooms on each floor. Accessible bathrooms exist on at least one floor, in addition to the ground floors that are accessible bathrooms. Certain public assembly areas or classrooms may not be accessible due to changes in elevation or other barriers. 8. At least one elevator provides service to all floors in all the building, and publicly public assembly areas in the school are accessible. Access is provided to most classrooms on multiple floors. Additional accessible bathrooms exist on other floors in addition to the ground floor accessible bathrooms. There may be limited areas within the building that are not accessible due to changes in elevation or other barriers. Number 9, all educational primary function areas within the building are accessible, although minor barriers may be present throughout the building where there are pre 1992 construction. 10. All educational primary function areas within the building are accessible. The building either has construction date of 1992 or after and presents a building where major alterations, additions, or remediations have been made to the pre 1992 construction to provide all full accessibility. What I would say that just got me just reading that, what is going on with the ground floor? What are we looking at with accessibility in the buildings as prerequisites? Because it's very, very hard to fix a lot of things on the back end versus what we ask for in the beginning. That's just my feedback. Thank you for allowing me to read. Back to you, Vice President Bonilla.
No problem. Thank you, President Angel, for that. I would like to know, does anyone has any questions? If you would like to raise your hand. I see a lot of things was going in the chat. So I would just like to give the floor to the audience as well.
Let me throw in an asterisk. There is a 0 rating. Right now, Vice President Bonilla and myself are working with William Herrera with DOE, with the Office of Accessibility Data, to walk us through what that 0 means, how they're moving through our buildings, trying to make everything 75% fully accessible, 50% accessible, and what this means in different buildings in different variations. Additionally, we are looking between now and December to have the SCA come and present an amendment so that everyone knows what is going on prior to January.
Thank you. And I see one hand up from CC12, Marie or Jalami.
I apologize for any noise in the background. My kids are here. I did want to ask if we are able to coordinate any visits with any of the members, if that's a possibility, or would you guys go on your own to visit the schools? Because I did see one of my schools on the visits that you'd already done, and I would have loved to have been there for one of those visits. And then another question I have is regarding the SCA. Just during the information session, I was surprised to hear that there was no consideration for D75 schools when they do new construction. So I just wanted to know in general if we have any influence over that in the future.
I know that what I'm hearing from SCA and from accessibility that they are prioritizing our District 75 schools. I know that we're very separate from the regular gen education. I can find out what this looks like for our students specifically and follow back up, but I do know that we are DOE, Central, etc. SCA is looking for specific changes for District 75 that they have committed to.
And I
Um,
would also like to
so,
give the floor to Ms. Andy Corso.
oh,
She
if
could
I,
answer some of that for us as to
oh,
how the district is planning on our schools.
Thanks so much, Vice President Bonilla. Definitely District 75 should be part of all SCA planning. So want to make sure that that we are there. And in any new construction, we're definitely part of that conversation also. That's very, very important. And so thank you so much for raising that. The member from District 12. That's essential that we're part of all those conversations for District 75. And we'll make sure to keep an eye on that as things move forward.
um, VP Bonilla,
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Spencer.
Yeah, I wanted to piggyback on that, on the thanks regarding the SE. That's one of we're leading toward addressing SEA concerns into January. Specifically, next month we'll really tackle the SEA and how that affects our district. I want to uplift the survey that we have in the chat for things not to fall in between the cracks. It's a hefty load regarding what this council has to do in terms of picking stuff for the SCA to uplift. So we're not going to go too much into the detail here now, but it's like we said, they have a commitment to us. They're going to be presenting to our council. President Angel, correct me if I'm wrong. It'll be in January. Am I wrong on
Actually,
that?
no. What
Oh,
we found out so far, I'm trying to uplift with the accessibility and data to get a conversation that happens with you guys here. If not, I'll get the information, translate it, and give it to you guys the best that I can so that we still can move forward. However, there is an amendment that's happening in November that SCA would like to present. And for our council, we simply do not have room to fit it in the next agenda in December. So I have been uplifting your next few dates so that they come and do this as a specific workshop to give the
yeah.
information out, and then we can record it and push that forward. I can let you guys know where that is. It was a couple of days ago that the conversation was started when they asked. So that is where we currently stand at this point.
So that's new. That's something I wasn't aware of. But yet, President Vice President Bonilla and I know we want to shift that conversation to the next to our meeting in December.
Yes, we want to make sure
So,
that you guys have everything you need prior to January. So we want to
yeah.
make sure this happens prior to the January date when everyone's filtering everything in. I know we have a couple of months, etc., but just letting people be aware of what they need to know prior to getting things accomplished would be acceptable.
What I wanted to comment on through my experience, President Angel, if I may, it just through my experience is just we're a citywide council. We have citywide needs, and in the past, when I was in the council, I was in the council for 6 years. We would have to decide every January the five schools in our district, in our citywide district, in terms
I
of the
already see where you're going. We're going to uplift those 5, but we're going to put 10 in the same way that we've always put those 10 in since I've been here with the 5 years that I was with you. We'll
right.
always do our top 10, and then we will still lobby to create a space where it will be top 10 versus 5, but we'll always submit that top 10, and then we still want to support everyone else under that space where it's like, where can we help them get monies? How can we go to legislators and different people, assembly persons, to see where they have these other monies to support donors choose, etc. So let's look into all spaces, even if it's sponsorship. What can we do to assist our schools that may not be picked in the space for these 5 year?
Yeah, so just thank you. Just to tie that in a bow, look at our survey. It's in the chat because that'll definitely flag us in terms of the committee and the council in terms of what further advocacy is needed. Thank you.
No, but I'm gonna give the floor to Miss Estela Numa. As
Yeah, thank you.
no,
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Um, I've been visiting some schools and I will love to have this information because I still have some school to visit. So my question would be that there is a timeline to visit the school because I don't really know how to do it. And the idea to visit the school together, even for just one time, is it will be really helpful. And also, who I should report what I have for those schools that I really visited because I don't see that the district 30 where I am, they really consider like putting in a top first what I have for the D75 school. Thank you.
Miss Nguema, if you would please uplift the schools that you need to visit, the ones that you need help visiting. Vice President Bonilla can attest. We have had a CEC rep that wasn't able to get into a school for 2 to 3 years, where she was able to get in with us. We're trying to make sure that you guys have access to what you need, even though we are moving in a CEC/citywide space. Vice President Bonilla, it is her baby to teach our CECs what you need to do. Even if you do move into citywides, she's here to teach on both sides. So we're here to support her. For our CEC members, if you are here far and wide, if you are playing this later, please do send us the schools that you need to visit. If you feel stonewalled, if you have been quote unquote kidnapped by a general education principal and something went wonky, let us know. We don't have the issues that you have getting into school buildings, and we will accommodate you and make sure that you get done what you need to get done in your schools. We will have to figure out how all of these meetings work scheduling wise, but we do stand in support of you and with you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, in agreement with Miss President Angel. I am very happy to support all of our CEC reps as a previous CEC rep myself for District 11 and seeing the things that we've dealt with in a different platform and that now I am part of Citywide. I am available to support in whatever our CEC reps need. So please fill out the form. Please email us with your concerns. That way we can see how we could best support you in the schools you are trying to visit. Is there any other questions? Please raise your hand. Mr. Spencer, would you like to add anything?
No, no. No, I guess I see in the chat in reference to where we get this information. Um, I think we want to be prudent in terms of how that's distributed. Just email us, and we can you correct me if I'm wrong, President Angel or Vice President Benio. Email us, and that way we can determine how to get you the information on the list.
That
Yes.
sounds good to me. Do we want to give space for Chief Corso to speak in this platform? If I don't want to put you on the spot, if you have nothing to say, it's totally okay. If you do, we want to give you a chance to speak.
Yes, as well. And while she's speaking, I'm just presenting the accessibility of different boroughs.
Wonderful. I have nothing to add at this point. I think that this committee is so essential, both to make sure that our spaces are great for kids in District 75 and their families, and that you're able to access the spaces and advocate for them. So I'm just grateful for this committee, and let me know if I can be supportive in any way.
Thank you so much, Ms. Corso. As I'm present, these are our Manhattan schools. The bright yellow is our schools that are lower than 5. Our beige is the schools that are 5 and above. We are trying to focus on 5 and below for partial accessibility because there's a lot of have 1 out of 10.
And so what we're also doing right now is moving 0 through 10, just
Yes.
so people can understand what it means to be a 0. What does it mean if the building didn't have accessibility to begin with, but it had space, so we put our children in it because it was pre-K? What does it mean to be 1 through 10? So when you visibly see as a school accessible, but it has barriers, you understand what that means. So for our council, what we are committed to doing is making sure that we give you the information that you saw Vice President Bonilla give before, where it specifically shows you what the barriers already are. So you move in with knowledge. Knowledge is power. You move in with knowing what the survey is. You move in with knowing what the quality report is. You move in knowing everything you need to know before you get into the school building, and then you build upon that.
I also would like to add, as a committee member, with the time that I have, I think um, it behoove us to work with those in the communities that have 5 or below, get to know who, the parent leaders and administrators in that community. Like I said, it's citywide. It's a Herculean task. I know some folks have specific questions. We don't have all those answers yet, but we're here committed to try to work with those within the community to get to those answers, why certain things are limited and certain things are not, and just grace us some time to get to know those specific circumstances so we can speak to that responsibly and advocate for the community responsibly.
And I'll jump in. There's two more questions. Why would D75 kids enter through a different door in a co-located school? Chief Corso, if I'm wrong, jump in. For what I know is we move on different schedules slightly than Gen Ed. And also with if you're in co-located schools, you could have multiple schools within that building. So they put us in the space where it's the least sensory issues, etc., for our children to get safely into the building, for our children to do busing with our mini buses into the building. If it's a scanning school, they make sure that we have the least issues moving into the building versus trying to move into the building with a bunch of high school students and differentiating. So they try to make that the easiest possible way for our students to get into the building. Would I be correct in saying that?
I think
That's
that's
what I.
yep,
Yeah,
it's just right, President Angela, and I see you also, Vice President Bonilla and Ellen. I know here what we don't want is it
right.
when it's done to keep kids separated. And I think that we certainly have had examples of that in the past where everyone else gets entered through the front door and students in the District 75 have to go around the back through the cafeteria. And that we don't want. We certainly want the appropriate accommodations, especially if there's scanning that might be beeping and a bunch of other things. And what we don't want is segregation or something that's less than or makes it feel like our students don't belong. And so I kind of want to hold the complexity of that as we're talking about it, if that's okay.
I'll hold that
Well,
too, but also
appreciate
say that
that.
I've noticed us exiting buildings, we exit together, but in the morning, maybe due to sensory, we come in separately. But there are spaces where we are included. So it's a conversation to be had for sure.
I
Yeah.
want to
So I was just wanted to add, I could agree to the feeling excluded in certain things because it's not just like a cafeteria entrance. Sometimes it may be like a garbage where they put the garbage. So those kind of spaces make our families feel segregated or feel less than. So I appreciate that being still held into mind that we may want to have space, but we don't want to be segregated or excluded.
Um, I want to add, that's why I had made the statement in terms of it's a vast list. Every circumstance is different depending on the building's capacity. And this committee and this council is I'll be bold to say we're committed to get to know what the circumstances are so we can get as inclusive as possible based on the
In the
situation,
least
whatever it is.
restrictive environment, let's throw that in. Least restrictive environment.
Right,
Everything you're
right.
saying, we're going to throw that in also.
Ms. Nguema had a clarification in the chat in reference to who should she report to regarding any issues after the visit. And
She,
my thought was she just copy, if you're gonna report to anyone in District 30, copy the folks in District 75.
right.
Am I wrong on that? Is that that's
Yeah.
what I would.
If I'm being honest, I'm District 75 strong. So I
Yeah.
don't know who's in a co-located building, but for us, when you're on that tour, you're going to be with us as council members. You're going to be with us as with deputy superintendents, and they're going to be kicking things up in live action when we're there. So what you want to do is email D75council at schools.nyc.gov, and then whoever else you want to add on. We are a
Yeah.
part of your team and we're
That's
already going to escalate it for our own district. And there are battles that we know you do have to fight in your community education councils. So we're on two ends for every space of these districts. So know that we have you on this end, and if you need us on the other, we'll be there as well.
I
that's
also
exactly.
added for her the capacity email too.
That's thank you. That's exactly enough said.
Uh, we have one more hand up, Miss Michelle Diaz.
Hello, yes, good evening, all. So yeah, it's my son who was going to the school where the garbage he was going in through with the side where the garbage was going in through. The year before that, that was not the issue. The following year, I understand there was a couple of issues with like the children, all the children in the other schools coming in at the same time. But out of all our other kids, they chose our site to be the ones that were walking through with the garbage. And our kids, they tend to stray, they like to touch things. And we brought it up, we raised it up a couple of times, nothing was done about it. The way my husband actually found out about it was because just like everybody else, we sent our kids on the bus. We hope and pray that they make it there safe, and then they bring them in fine. My son's sippy cup, favorite sippy cup, was left behind, and my husband went to take it to him to the school, and he saw them unloading the kids and walking in through where the garbage was at, where there was a couple of things that were open, and we got pictures and stuff like that.
Miss Diaz, could you
Um,
tell us, could you email us? We don't want to give any personal information out,
it,
but could you
I,
email us and then let us know?
I mean, I don't know what's going on. My son is not in the school anymore, but it was from 596X for
Okay, well, we want
so
thank you for
but
that. So what we would like,
it's
what we would, if I could,
what I'm trying to convey here is that we need to, as parents and as leaders, we need to see what's going on in the school. We need to go walk in, because the
correctly.
if we're not, some of our kids are verbal, but they can't express what they're feeling, and some are not. So we have to be, we have to go into the school and see what's going on.
Thank you so
And
much,
thank
Miss
you.
Diaz. So
Thank
what we'll bring that into a full circle, and in hearing what Miss Diaz is saying, and thank you, Miss Diaz. We know that you have been a vocal parent and advocate for a while, so thank you for your advocacy. And she is not wrong here. When it comes to custodial issues, sometimes District 75 is not included in the co-located principal that may be moving the custodians. Maybe they're not aware of what's happening on our side of the building. What we do have is an Andy Corso. We do have deputy superintendents. We do have a superintendent. We do have a council. And lifting this up, if you could send us the pictures, because I know you guys are very swift and deft with getting the time, dates, and pictures. If you can give those to us, even as parents, we can uplift this with 311, but we could also move it up to our chiefs in special education, the district, to make sure
I,
that this is not something that they have to continue being offloaded with trash on the side of the sidewalk.
I think that she was bringing it up as a concern that had happened before that she had experienced, but she doesn't know what's happening at this time. But she
I
just
think that
wanted to
we
make
should still
everyone.
uplift and double check it. Maybe it's still happening. If it's
I
not,
was,
it's
I
something that
think
we
that
can
was
flag.
also part of what she was stating, that she wanted
Absolutely, I
to
agree.
follow up.
Yes.
That what I hear, Miss Diaz, you want us to follow up on to see if this issue is still happening?
Yes, that would be great. Thank
No
you.
problem.
Wonderful. And Vice President Bonilla, if when we go to other schools, when we check around the buildings for their entrances for buses, let's make sure to flag that as well.
No problem. We
Thank
will. And Miss O'Shea put in the chat, the team should include the reps from the district as well. That's what we trying to do. That's what we here. We want to meet all of our D75 reps.
And
And we,
we want you in the buildings, and we want to make sure you have the access that you need. Send
yeah,
us the time frames that you can get in, what works for you. We will be there to support you. This is a team effort, period. You guys have seats representing us 1 through 32. We're citywide, and we need you. hopefully you need us and we're going to help you in these spaces to make sure that we do what we need to do for our community. And you're not alone in this, and I hope that you guys support us as well, because we do need you as well.
Yeah,
No
because
problem.
I've been
And
in the seat.
said also as local district too. Yes, I'm friends with the CECs, Miss O'Shea. We're friends. We don't
If
worry.
we are not friends with your district,
Like, if
please
we're
help
not,
us.
we're gonna
Please
be
help us make
friends.
networking efforts, because our goal is to get in where we fit in. Nothing about us without us. So please help us make inclusionary efforts in your districts if there are spaces, and if there aren't, we will make them. So let's figure out how we can work together.
Yes,
And
and
if
I
you
just
guys
also
saw someone needed the form for accessibility, please email the council and we can make sure to get that form out to you.
yes, and I just also want to uplift as for CECs for the local districts. If they do not have a CEC rep for D75, we are also trying to know their presidents in order to know what they need assistance with, or what can we support them in as District 75. That's also done with President's Council for District 75 with Ms. Rima Izquierdo. So
In
she,
addition, for our council, if you are a president, usually you guys reach out to us if you do not have representative, and we have toolkits and different items that you will need to support you. In addition, listen, welcome to the club. You have family everywhere. Our cousins over at the President's Council will help you out. Face will help you out. PTA presidents will help you out. You are not alone. You have multiple spaces to get a lot of assistance. So we want to make sure that you guys jump in, join in, know some faces and names, and know that we're here to support.
And ex presidents will help you out, such as myself, who has been on an island before and thought that there was no one else out there. One of the lasting things, my last time as on a council, was to make sure that there was a D75 rep on every CEC, and I'm proud of that, and I'm here because of that. I'm back because of that, to make sure that 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 fire is still lit, and to make sure there's parents that don't go through what I went through and what my co advocates went through. So yes, please spread the
And
word.
speaking on legacy, guys, I came in here 5 years ago. Mr. Craig Spencer was here prior to me. He was my co-president coming in. And what I can say is co-president Spencer has circled the block back. His daughter has graduated. Um, co-president Amy Ming Tsai has circled the block back. She's still here serving and doing tours and doing boot camps and helping us out. Co-president Andrea Daniels, her daughter has graduated and she has circled the block. This is what we're talking about, guys. When you hit the top floor, send the elevator back down. We all need somebody who has been through the process, understands the process. We do not know. I don't know everything. I lean into people who came before me. I give the information that I know now. And we need to remember that this is part of the legacy of what we're doing for District 75 so that we can continue to serve. And please use Mr. Craig Spencer as a wonderful example of how to continue to join in spaces, even if you don't have a lot of time, because he is very busy with the MTA and he still makes time for District 75 because it's D75 strong. Thank you, former co-president Spencer.
yes, thank you for that. And as we said, we appreciate all of you and thank you for joining us tonight. We would like to stress, if you can, please fill out our form that we could go visit. But if there's not any other comments,
Right. So our next meeting,
oh yes,
uh,
sorry about that.
December 10th. December 10th is the next committee meeting where we'll uplift the joint public hearings. I know we have a joint public hearing in District 30. So we want to uplift those accomplishments, and we'll dive more, hopefully, spread the word about the accessibility, and give word out to other districts, have them communicate with us. And like President Angel says, things are in the work with the SCA. Also, what I wanted to do before we leave, we canceled last meeting on the 29th. Panel for Education Policy met, and they passed a resolution someone correct me if I'm wrong, their resolution and unanimously approved new abandoned New York City buildings be used in the future for schools. I'm paraphrasing here, but
Miss
I
Corso.
but what I want to do is, and
Craig
that's a
is
big
not
part.
wrong. There are,
Okay,
as I mentioned before, some daycare centers, some pre-care centers, those spaces that are not currently being used. We are looking to either move pre-K or some of our students into those buildings. That's why some of those buildings are getting the ratings of 0 for accessibility. So we will be bringing you more information about that 0 through the accessibility data office. But Mr. Spencer, you are not incorrect. They are looking at reutilizing buildings that are standing and doing nothing. Yes.
and so utilization is in our committee name, and that's one of the big things coming from where I've been and where I like to go with this community and this group. I want some of the leaders, someone from District 30, President from District 30 spoke, Dr. Kaliris from District 4 spoke. Staten Island was strong. Camille from District 15, who's now PEP rep, spoke. So we have advocates in the community. I want to invite them in our earliest meetings next year to flesh that out and how that, because that is like President Angel said, it's not us without us. And I know that I would want something like that to benefit us. If the PEP is passing a resolution on that, then we need to hold them accountable. So that's the spirit. That's what I'm bringing to this table. That's what I want to focus on, one, if not more, one or two of our meetings next year. And I want to be accountable for you guys to see, okay, it's one thing to say it, how is it going to happen? Now, I'd like to invite some folks, hopefully, to speak to that and address our accessibility concerns to bring our community in a better place. So look forward to that. Look forward to more talk on the SCA. Look forward to more information from school visits and joint public hearings. And please participate. Know your PA, your PTA. Go to your CEC meetings. Come to our meetings the first Wednesday of the month. And God bless. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
And to tie a beautiful bow on that, for those of you who might have joined late or want to pass this forward, please do know there is a link in the chat for our CCD 75 outreach that you can join on YouTube. If you missed a meeting, you never missed a meeting. It will be there, the information will be there, and we will touch base on you when you do join again. We thank you for your time. We know that we all don't have a lot of it, and we're struggling in the day to get through. And I know everybody might have to do dinner right now and get some babies in the bed. So thank you guys for being here. I will now again pass it over to Vice President Bonilla. Thank you, and Co-Chair Spencer, for the work that you're doing on the committee.
Again, thank you all for joining us tonight. Please email the capacity email or the 75 council email, as well as fill out the form. That way we could continue to support you all through your school visits and joint public hearings. As
Also,
everyone's been stating tonight, it takes all of us. So it takes a village to get our voices heard. And I appreciate you coming to have your voice heard. Yes,
Let's
Ms.
say one last thing for those listening who cannot see the transcript. Vice President Bonilla is referring to CCD75 capacity at gmail.com and D75council at schools.nyc.gov. Back to you.
Ms.
I just want to lastly, because President Angel, if you can speak to the survey that we have, can we work on a little translation? Is that still possible?
We
Yes,
absolutely can have language equity. Let's work on that tomorrow for a secondary push out. We want to make sure that everyone has a voice.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. God
thank.
bless everyone.
And again, good night, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. And thank you, Ms. Andy Corso, for being our special guest. This meeting is adjourned at 7:14 p.m.